Hi everyone, today we're going to take a look at this extension cord from Omni. Now some of you might be thinking, wait, didn't you recently give Omni a hard time about their rechargeable lights? Well, that's true, but I still want to give them the benefit of the doubt that it was a mistake and perhaps just wasn't handled very well. Now I've been using their extension cords for a long time and I am a fan and I have recommended them to other people, and today I want to explain to you why I like these cords. So let's start with the plug here. You can see it is grounded, but if you want you can unscrew this pin and it becomes a standard 2-pin. Now this is useful because normally you'd have to use an adapter, or some people simply break this pin off. Having the flexibility and the option to remove it is very useful. In an ideal world we'd all be using grounded sockets, but here in the Philippines they're not that common. Now the next big selling point is the universal socket. I can put in flat pins like this, I can put in round pins, I can put in a British plug like this. It supports pretty much every plug that you can think of, so I'm a big fan of this. Now some people do have complaints about these kind of sockets because they're worried that what if I plug it in like this or like this? Well, if you're really that worried, maybe you shouldn't be near electrics. I'm pretty confident that I can plug something in properly, so I'm not concerned about that. Now in an ideal world there would be safety shutters inside, so that if little children try and poke their finger in or poke a screwdriver in or something like that, they won't get a shock. Shutters aren't very common here in the Philippines, but I have seen some extensions that do have the shutters. This one doesn't. Now of course another feature is it has this 10 amp breaker switch here. So let's actually open this up and take a closer look. Oh, and before I unscrew them, let me point out two things. Firstly, they're a security type screw, so anyone who comes along with a normal screwdriver, for instance somehow a child gets a screwdriver, they can't open this up and somehow shock themselves. The next thing is that the screws are actually recessed, so you can't physically touch the screws. Now that's important because let's imagine something comes loose inside, you drop it, a wire breaks off, something like that. Even if somehow a wire makes contact with a screw, you can't physically touch it to get a shock. So it's these little touches that people don't notice but are very important. So let me open this up. So the first thing we'll notice when we open it up is there's good strain relief. Even if you yank on this cable, it's not going to come out. On some cheaper extension cords, if you yank the cable, it actually breaks out and then you've got live wires hanging out the end. So having this strain relief is a big benefit. Now the next thing you'll notice is that the wires inside the cord have their own insulating jackets. Now one's green, we've got black, and we've got white. That means that this is a double insulated cord. So even if you cut through the outer insulation, you've then got the inner insulation on each different cable. So it's like a double protection basically. Now you might be wondering what this blue thing here is. This is a MOV, and that's what offers you your surge protection. Now it is limited, but it's there, so that's a plus. Now as for the wires themselves, if we look here, you can see that they're actually crimped into place. That means you've got a nice solid connection, and if you overload this and everything starts to heat up, hopefully the crimp will still keep the wire in place. So it is nice to see that they've crimped these wires in place. Now for anyone wondering about this breaker switch, we have one side of the AC come in, it goes through the breaker switch and then to the sockets. The other side of the AC goes directly to the sockets, and then we have a small black wire here, you can see that coming off that other side of the AC, which goes back to the switch for the internal neon, the light inside. So that's how that little breaker switch works. And of course all of this is plastic, and this is a strong plastic. It's not a cheap plastic, it's a thick strong plastic, so even if you drop it, kick it, abuse it, it's going to survive. And if something comes loose inside, you're not going to get a shock because it's plastic. I'm not a fan of the metal extension cords because although they have powder coating, if any part of that powder coating is missed, or for instance the screws are exposed, if a wire comes loose inside and you touch it, there's a potential for shock. So personally I'm a bigger fan of these plastic extension cords. I think they're better and they're safer. So that was just a quick video to look at this Omni extension cord. Like I said, I do think Omni made some mistakes with their rechargeable lights, but they do have some decent products, and I want to be fair to them because I do use their extension cords and I think they are decent. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and if you have any questions, put it in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching.